I am Christian.
And I'm Angela, and we are married.
And bored.
Hello, everyone.
Hey!
It's episode 11 of the Married and Bored podcast.
I'm happy to be here.
Christian is super happy. He has his snacks ready.
I do.
What snacks do you have this time?
Let me go through the list really quick. I've got some popcorn.
Popcorn?
I won't eat that because it will just make crunchy sounds, so maybe I shouldn't eat that. I've got one Twix bar, and I've got a little bit of soda to get me through.
And what kind of Twix is that, Christian?
This is the classic cookies and cream Twix bar, which is not so classic, but they just came out again. I say that because when my sister and I were younger, they had these out for like 2 summers in like 1993, and we thought they were the greatest. And now they're back, and they don't taste different. They don't taste the same.
Really?
I don't
Not
think
as
so.
good?
My 10-year-old memory
You know what? Maybe your taste buds have you've acquired a different palate.
matured.
Yeah, you've matured your palate.
Maybe.
Well, this is not a cooking show. We're here to talk board games, so grab your snacks, grab your soda, whatever you're drinking.
Yeah, and if you're listening in the car, 10 and 2, please. Keep your...
Hands at 10 and 2.
Yeah.
If you're working out while listening to us, I'm going to suggest you turn on some more uplifting beats.
No. Keep us on. We'll keep you through
We'll get
the
you through that
terrible
workout.
workout that you're on. But here's what you do. Just lower the weights by half.
That's good advice.
Just make it easier.
Christian is not a personal trainer. He is not giving you actual physical fitness advice.
I personally train myself.
Yeah.
Very poorly, but...
We do recommend a good Gloomhaven box to get the
lift.
muscles pumping. Anyway, we are going to be talking about Keyforge, which is another strictly 2-player game later on in the episode. But let's start with, what's up with you, Christian?
Yeah, what's up? What's up? We always say what's up with each other. I'm going first this week.
Go for
Let's
it.
go. My quick update, there's not a lot going on outside of what I always say. I'm always saying, man, there's a lot on Kickstarter. Man, Marvel Champions is awesome. That's still true.
Christian, I feel like there is a lot going on because we have had about 7 board games in 7 days come into our house. So that's very misleading. Your news.
Yeah. That should be a game in itself, I think, is when somebody buys too many board games and you have to figure out how to get them in the house, maybe without your significant other knowing, like you hide them in the house, or you just try to arrange them nicely. And whoever has the most Marie Kondo board game collection in the game is the winner.
There you go.
But yeah, we played Chronicles of Crime again.
Yes, and in a different way.
Yeah, we had my sister and brother-in-law over, the same sister who ate cookies and cream Twix with me.
Absolutely.
27 years ago. They came over for a game night to hang out, and we thought Chronicles of Crime would be a good one to just kind of show them what we do. We've played a few games with them in the past a while ago, and it's just been a long time since we've hung out with them in that way.
Yes.
So we did Chronicles of Crime, but we decided to do the expansion, which is like the Redview...
Mystery Gang.
Yeah, welcome to Redview.
There it is.
Which is kind of like... I call it the Stranger Things expansion.
It's very reminiscent
Yeah,
of Stranger
because
Things.
it's set in like 1983, and you're a group of teenagers, and you run around the little town, and you try to solve a mystery. And there may or may not be a spiritual, supernatural, out of this world bad guy.
OMG.
Yeah, so it was actually, I thought, a lot more fun than the original game that we played and talked about last episode. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would still say it's an experience, not a game.
Yeah, it's not amazing, but if I had to pick and do it again, which I hope we do it again, because I want to now know what happens in this story. That's what's good about Chronicles of Crime. It tells a good story.
Yes, and they actually did incorporate a game mechanic, tests.
That's right. They do change it because this is why I think it's Stranger Things-esque too, because they introduce tests, which is a lot like Dungeons and Dragons, which is a central part of Stranger Things. So we were rolling dice all night trying to pass the tests.
Yeah.
it didn't add a lot, but it added enough to make it interesting. There was one time we were trying to talk to a gas station attendant, and what we wanted to do was isolate her to the back of the store so she could tell us a secret. We kept on rolling, and we could not roll high enough to distract the other person in the store. Yep. So we knew she wanted to tell us a secret, but she couldn't. So we had to go about another way in getting her to do that.
So there's a game mechanic, which satisfied a little need for me in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was good. I'm looking forward to doing it again. Like I said, I want to hear the end of this little story.
Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 long, right?
Yeah, this is a good game. I say it's a good game. We kind of didn't call it a game last episode, but I guess I enjoyed it more this weekend than I did when we were playing the original. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's kind of, this expansion is kind of changing my mind a little bit.
It's a good update. That's good. We're kind of feeling differently about it in a good way.
It's still not amazing. It still 100% beats Detective for me. But yeah, a little update there.
Okay.
How about you, Ange? What's up?
What is up with me? Well, I'm still rocking the solo games. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, I would like to discuss Goonshone Cleaver with anyone who has played this, especially in solo mode. I am just really blown away by the scoring and like star correlation. So like what
the metrics
that
they grade you on what your score is.
Yeah, I cannot I mean I'm not a Goonshone Cleaver master by any means. But I can sit down and play like a good 10 solo games in a row. And then take a break and then do 10 more later that day or whatever it is. And I have never gotten above 3 out of 5 stars as a solo player.
Really?
And the 3-star happened like once. I would say the majority of my scores are in the 175.
Now, when we play it together, I've only played it a handful of times, like 4. What scores do we get? How high do we get?
Well, you broke 200 for sure.
Yes.
I think you got like 250.
Okay.
Which I think they only give like a 2 stars to. So I guess be gentle with me. If I'm really just needing to play more to be better at this, maybe that's the case.
Maybe that's the key, yeah.
But I just I'm a little, I don't know, disheartened, defeated by
but it is dice. So it's not like...
Yeah, it's luck in one sense, right?
Yeah, but then you have to know what to take when.
Yeah, if it's too lucky of a game, I don't like that.
Okay.
When there's too much luck involved. But so the dice roll is obviously luck, but then I feel like knowing what to do with what you rolled is not luck.
Yeah, there's definitely strategy and thought put into that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm feeling like I still break it out because of that itch where I'm just like, surely I'll break. Surely I'm going to get the 280 score.
It's like I have to perfect this one. I need to get 4 out of 5 stars or I'm going to fail this. Not do well at this game.
Yeah, that's right. It's a school analogy. Correlation. Yes. I don't know. I'm miffed by this one in solo mode and how to score high.
Yeah, I've never played this game solo. I don't think I will.
It's not your type of game.
No, it doesn't. It's fun when we play it together, like once or twice.
Right.
But there's too much. I don't want to say math, but there's a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of numbers. It's just not my thing.
Right. And maybe like a lot of the times I will play it while I'm listening to an audiobook.
Oh, okay.
So maybe there's just too much going on.
Yeah, you kind of do it just absent-mindedly, maybe. You know, well,
yeah, I guess. That's not the goal.
No.
I'm not thinking like, oh, I want to be absent-minded, but maybe I need to...
No, but you often have a super strong desire to play a game now.
Yes.
Whether that's just because you're home with kids.
Why are we recording this right now and not playing a game now?
Whether it's because you're with kids all day or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Today, for example, I worked from home and we have an office where we are recording now. You just came in and grabbed the box and then left.
Yep.
And I was like,
I just had to play now.
Yep, she's got to do her dice rolling.
Yep.
To scratch.
Does anyone have that kind of thing going on? Oh, well, so that's not the question for this episode, but it's just a secondary thing where I want to get some feedback on the Gunshin Cleaver.
Yeah, so if you've played and you play solo, like, how well are you scoring?
Uh-huh.
And also, is there any other roll and write game that's better than this one?
Yeah.
Because I don't think there is.
Yeah. And don't just be like those jerks on the internet about any game that are like, oh, this game is so easy to beat. I scored 280 all the time in solo mode. I don't know why you can't do it.
I took it back because it was so easy.
If that's what you're scoring, that's fine. Don't lie to me, but just give me some encouragement instead of beating me when I'm down.
Beating you down? Yeah. Well, that's great. I'm glad you're playing that. I'm glad that you like doing that game. You've been wanting to get that one for a while.
I have.
So it's good. You like that a lot.
And it travels well.
That's true.
Bonus.
That's true. It is. We're not talking about this game at all, but we're talking about now.
Yeah.
In this episode, I mean. It's very hard to learn and teach.
Gunshin Cleaver? Yes. It's amazingly simple once you get it.
Yeah.
But then you sit down to explain it to someone and you're like, okay, this isn't as easy to explain as I thought.
And if you've had that experience, we'd like to know. Because that's just a curious thing that I've noticed. Mm-hmm. Like, all the dice do something different. Some of them add to each other. Other ones are wild. I don't know what's going on.
Well.
To each his own.
Yeah, it's not... I'm not surprised it's not your favorite game.
Yeah, easy.
Yes.
Well, it's great. That is what is up with us. Angela, after the break here, mentioned it at the beginning of the episode, we are going to be talking about...
Keyforge.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back.
All right, Keyforge. It's a card game, and we're going to talk about it. Angela, you like to describe games?
I do.
Hit us up.
I was going to be really upset if you took over the description.
No, if there's a bunch of text on a page, I'm going to mess up a word, even if it's right in front of me.
Okay.
I'm just better at off the chuff. I think it's cuff, actually.
It's off the cuff. Okay. Sorry for that tangent. Keyforge. It's a unique deck card game created by Richard Garfield, who is the creator of Magic the Gathering. Mm-hmm. And it's published by Fantasy Flight Games in 2018. In it, players take on the role of Archons in a world of the Crucible. Each Archon races to be the first to collect Ember and forge 3 keys.
Yes.
If you have no idea what any of that means, let me just break it down for you here.
Yeah. Explain that, please.
Okay, so the whole unique deck card game.
Yes, this is probably my favorite part about this game.
Okay, I'm going to try to explain this in my mind how it works, and then you might have to take over.
Yeah, go for it.
So when you buy a Keyforge deck, there is no other deck like that deck you just purchased. Mm-hmm. In fact, there is over 104 quadrillion decks combinations
possible
in existence. But you buy a deck and you don't add to it. Those 30 cards are your deck. You don't build. It's not deck building like Star Wars Destiny. Mm-hmm. It's not an LCG like Marvel Champions, because if I buy Thor and you buy Thor, we're both getting the same exact cards.
Correct.
So Keyforge it's unique. Every deck, am I explaining this correctly?
Yeah, every deck is unique.
Yes.
You and I could open a pack of cards, and they may have the same 3 houses, which we will explain later, but the cards within each house could be different.
Yes.
You could have 2 of one card, and I'll have 4, or it's kind of wild.
It is wild how they are all unique.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, as of right now, they have a great website on this, which is really fun to check every once in a while. As of right now, there is 1,753,000 unique unique decks that have been scanned into the Keyforge app.
Yes, so when you buy a deck, you can scan in your deck into the app, and then it will record that unique deck in their database.
Yeah, it records it, and you can track it.
Your wins with
and losses, and that's cool. We'll get into that a little bit later, but yeah, unique deck game. It's cool. It's wild.
And if you didn't understand the second half of that description, basically it's just creatures, or humanoid things,
aliens
living in a fantasy world. Thank you, Christian. And then they are going to try to collect these jewels called amber, and they're going to use them to make keys, and if you make 3 keys, you win the game.
Yeah, it's a race.
It is a race.
When it all comes down to that. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot going on. So let's break it down.
Break it down.
What are we hitting them with first, Angela?
We always hit up ease of set up and tear down first, because this is important to us.
Yeah. As
busy people with other full-time jobs and kids.
Small archons at home.
Yes, small creatures.
Yeah, so this one, because of what we said, it's really easy.
It's really easy
to set this up. At its base, you need 1 pack for each player.
Okay, this is how easy it is. Ready? Step 1, go to Target. Step 2, buy 2 Keyforge packs, 1 for you and 1 for your significant other. Go home. Open said packs.
Yep.
Shuffle the deck.
Play. Yep. Yeah, now there is a little bit more that you would need if you're just starting out. Like, those packs don't have any tokens, or they honestly don't even have rules. But if you're already in the game, that's super easy. You can just buy your friend that, or your significant other that.
Yep.
But and even to combat that in the later sets, we're currently in set 3. They started doing deluxe card packs. So normally a card pack is $10. The deluxe ones are $15, and they include the keys that you need, and any tokens, and I think they give you a chain tracker. Ooh. Which is a specific mechanic in this game.
That's cool.
So that's kind of cool. If you you probably need 2 of those deluxe sets for both of you to have enough stuff.
Yep.
Or they have the 2-player starter sets as well, and that's all. Yep. Target's like the easiest place to get this, to be honest. Like, they have it all the time, but you can find it at all the game stores too.
Yep. So this is probably the easiest setup and tear down of any of the games we've ever talked about on our podcast.
Yeah.
There are some very easy setups that we've talked about, but this is the easiest.
Yep. Pick what deck you want to play, make a token pile, find your keys, you're good to go. Mm-hmm. And then follow the rules, shuffle the deck. Yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty great, and that makes the barrier of entry super low.
Super low.
Yeah.
Okay. We also like to talk about how accessible is learning to play, not just for us, but trying to think outside of ourselves. Mm-hmm. So this is pretty accessible for people who have any type of card game knowledge, like
modern card games.
Modern card game knowledge.
Yeah, if you play Hearts, nothing's gonna make sense.
No, I was thinking like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones.
Yeah. If you're familiar with any
Destiny.
Yeah, 2-player card games where you're fighting each other, Magic, Star Wars, Pokemon, like not Digimon, that's not a card game, but Yu-Gi-Oh, that's what I was thinking.
There we go.
All those card games and collectible card games, you're gonna feel right at home with Keyforge. There's just a few different mechanics that you have to learn, but you'll be familiar with exhausting or tapping a card to use it. There's stuns, there's boosts, there's
wards.
There's all sorts of stuff that are specific to this game. But if you're a vet in the card game space, this will be fairly easy to learn.
Yep. I don't know that I would say it's inaccessible to people who don't play modern card games or board games, but they will have to get familiar with the idea of exhausting a character. Or one thing that was kind of difficult for me when we first picked this up in 2018 was to understand that when I am the attacker and I attack Christian's character, I still get hit. What do you call that? It has a name.
I don't know what the word is, but like the attacks happen.
Retaliation.
Yeah, they happen simultaneously.
Right.
So if my guy hits for 5 and yours hits for 6, like I'll still hit you for 5, but you'll hit me for 6 at the same time.
Yeah, so I would kill your character with my 6 versus your 5, but you'd still leave me with 5 damage.
Yeah, and you'll have 1 health left.
Right. So that was kind of made me rethink what my strategy was a few times.
Yep.
But that's now second nature.
Yeah, what helped me understand that was playing a lot of Hearthstone.
Yeah, okay, yes. You had me play that for a while.
Yeah, I think we tried it.
2018 to get used to it.
Yeah, if you've played Hearthstone at all, or any online card game, you're very familiar with how that works.
Yep.
They attack at the same time, and you do the math really quick, or game does the math really quick, and it takes care of it for you. But yeah, that is a thing that does take some getting used to.
Mm-hmm. And it's a small detail. I mean, I don't want that to be the reason why someone would choose not to play or get into this game.
No, I mean, learning to play this game coming from nothing is hard to make a comment on, because we have been playing games for a while. But if I were to guess, like, I taught this to a bunch of guys at work. I talked them all into going into like a big pack, and we split like 12 different decks of cards.
That's a good idea.
And by the end of the night, we all knew how to play.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that big a deal. Like, everybody knew what they were doing for the most part. There's always exceptions to every rule in these games, right?
Right. When you're like, wait, what does skirmish mean?
Yeah.
And you have to look that up.
So, yeah, if you're looking to get into a card game and like one of these battle type games, I haven't played a lot, to be honest, but this seems like a very easy one to get, because you don't have to chase any cards. You just buy your decks. Mm-hmm. And then once you learn it, like any other deck that you buy, you know exactly what to do. You just have to find out the intricacies of that specific one.
And we'll probably talk about that more when we, like, is it worth it? But yeah, that's a good point. Okay. How immersive would you say that the world of the Crucible and the Archons are?
The world of the Crucible. This is our favorite category, probably.
Yes.
And I'll say that every time.
I was going to say, I feel like you've said that before.
It's so, I mean, it's one of the more important ones for us, because in my mind, like, these next 3 categories, immersiveness, fun, and worth it, they all kind of like meld together for me. They're starting to just become mega category.
Yes.
Yes. But immersive, these card games, these back and forth card games are hard to be immersive, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Because there's no story being told.
Right.
Well, I mean, there is.
I mean, I would agree with what you just said.
Yeah. You can maybe extract a story if you try hard enough.
Someone's going to try real hard to connect the story.
Yeah, of my dinosaurs fighting your aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very immersive. If it's a game, and it just happens to be Keyforge. You know, the cards just happen to be what they are.
I mean, for the mechanics of the game and the fact that it's a 2-player back and forth card game, I don't know how much more immersive it could be, unless it had like a licensed, like, Star Wars or Lord of the Rings theme, or My Little Pony. Something.
I don't know if I would buy it. Well, maybe.
You do have a daughter.
That's right. Yeah. She would probably play.
So I don't think that it like failed, because I don't know how much more immersive this kind of game could be.
Yeah.
When I think of a heavily immersive game, it has a very different mechanic than this does.
Yeah, that's true. But I think to go on your point is if it were in a different world, I think like the immersiveness would go up a little bit because those stories are easier to tell. Like if for some reason that this was, I think Game of Thrones makes sense with a unique card deck game because you would just go buy a pack.
The houses in the show.
Yeah, so you just buy, I want to play House Stark, and you just get random House Stark cards. And that you have your house fighting whatever random house you chose, and then you're good to go. I think that's a cool story. I don't know if I'm pulled in as much to the story and the characters of this world.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's a little nerdy.
What?
Is it okay to say that?
We do play board games.
I know. I just I know. Someone just let me explain.
Yeah, do that.
It kind of reminds me of like World of Warcraft, like where there's some things that look human. Okay. And then there's creatures that don't look human at all, and then they're all in this like fantasy world, and I personally just don't get into that.
Okay. Is it the cartooniness or like the fantasy?
That's
or is it
really
just
good question.
This specific one?
It's probably just this specific one.
Because you're a Lord of the Rings fan.
Yeah.
You're a Harry Potter fan.
Right.
Ooh, that would be good for this.
Ooh, Harry Potter would be
like
good.
You pick a Hogwarts class or whatever. And then you fight.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so my wheels are turning on that a little bit. And I don't know how to explain it because if I can't say that it's the fantasy part that makes it not immersive because I can point to 3 other games behind me that are in fantasy worlds that I really enjoy.
Yeah, it's probably just this one. And I don't think you're alone in that. I think it's a weird place to be because it's just, in a way, it's almost like Smash Up where they're just like, what if pirates and dinosaurs were in the same game and you could be them on your team? And that was Smash Up. Yes. This one is just like, let's do that, but to the extreme. Right. One thing I think this one does well with the different houses, I think all the houses are unique and they all play differently.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, and so I think that kind of, they all play within who they're supposed to be, if like that makes sense.
I'm picturing the Brobnar.
Yeah, so there's one called Brobnar, which is, in my mind, I think of it as like the wild animal one.
No, that's Untamed.
Oh, they're like Brobnar, the barbarians.
They're the barbarians.
Like the Vikings. Yeah, there you go.
They just are heavy hitters.
And they look like they hit hard. They look crazy Mad Max-ish.
Yes. And they're just heavy hitters.
Yep.
And there's other ones that are more like they steal Ember from you.
Yeah, so there's one called Shadow, appropriately named. And they don't do a ton of damage. Some of them do.
They're annoying.
And they just chip away slowly and they steal stuff from your pocket.
Death by paper cuts.
They steal stuff from your pockets.
Yes.
So I like that.
That is true. And, the art is really good.
It does have cool art.
As we're talking about the cards and their, like, what they look like. Yeah,
that's very true.
So the art is good.
Let me throw this at you. Do you have a favorite?
Well, I haven't played all that's out there, right?
Well, I think we have, maybe? I don't know.
Well, I haven't played.
Yeah,
I've seen someone else play it against me.
Have you played?
We discussed this actually with a different game we were playing this week, but I tend to just stick to what I first played the game with.
Yeah,
and I tend to like just latch on and try to perfect what I first played the game as. So I do have a special place in my heart for Untamed.
Untamed, and they're like the woodland creature people.
Yeah, they're like creatures.
Like
they're
foxes and like gorillas and monkeys.
Foxes and jaguars and So I have a special place in my heart for them, and I can't say any other reason than I played them first.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I'm used to it maybe, or I feel like I'm coming home.
Welcome to the forest.
Yes. Oh, it's so poignant. Yeah, I do know, speaking of immersiveness, that you can get upgrades in your Ember and keys.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can get actual, what do they call it, realistic components.
Yeah, you can just get upgraded is probably the better word. You can go to tournaments, and I know they have tournament kits where you can get like some Ember tokens that are, enamel or metal or plastic, and then the keys themselves, some of them are metal, some are plastic too. Which that would be really cool.
That would be cool.
If we played this more than we do, I would definitely try to go win some of those. But I'm kind of scared to go play other people in this game.
Right, because this is a game where you just get the idea that there's people that are into it.
Yeah.
You know, like I get the feeling that I would go to a tournament, just to have fun.
Yeah. But I think you would do well. I think you'd do surprisingly well.
And I would just get paired with someone that would be like, they are not there to chat. They are not there to have fun. They are there to win.
Yeah, but when you're playing Keyforge, how can you not have fun with how silly some of the cards look? In a good way.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone agrees.
Wow. Well, they're definitely not listening to this show. So
They've been crafting, and thinking about how to play the right cards in their deck for weeks and weeks leading up to the tournament.
Right. Yeah, and they probably bought a deck online of their three favorite houses.
Yeah.
With the one card that they knew they needed.
Whereas I'm just like, I'm just going to grab a deck on my way out.
Yep. Yeah. For sure.
So we have not, needless to say, we've not played tournaments of this.
Yeah. One other thing that we didn't touch on and I wanted to talk about before we go to the next one is that each of these decks is uniquely named as well. And that so like your Archon is like who you are in this fight.
Yeah. Like
that's who you embody, this Archon. And I looked up some funny names for these things this week.
Ooh.
I looked up, and in all those Keyforge decks that we mentioned, 23 out of the 1 million whatever had the word toys in them.
Toys?
Yeah, I was trying to think of, like, words that would make sense for us, like toys and kids and married.
Uh-huh.
So, toys, marries, there was 87, with one called The Commander That Marries Defeat.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound like a very powerful deck if you're marrying defeat.
The Woman Who Marries the Wild Hunt.
Okay, now that is a deck I want.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like there's Untamed in there.
Yeah, maybe it's like a Witcher 3 thing. I don't know. And then I looked up Baby, and there was 737 decks.
That had baby
had
in
the
them?
word baby. Like Shaquille, General Baby Bear, Gruber.
What?
And
just so you guys know, people are not making these names up. You get the deck, and it's named for you.
Yeah.
So someone didn't, name their deck that.
Yeah.
The creators of this game are naming the deck.
And that doesn't really, add to the immersiveness of it, but I guess it could.
No, but it adds to the uniqueness. When we talked about the description of the game, for sure.
I wanted to make sure to mention that. I just pulled out one of my cards. And this is the name of my deck here. Hongoline, the Jester Navigator.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so does it really add to immersiveness? I don't think so. But it is a cool thing that kind of makes...
It's a cool little tidbit.
Yeah, this game unique.
And that's what you're good at. You're good at finding the...
Cool tids.
Finding the cool tidbits. Okay, so next in the mega category...
Yeah, that's right.
Is this fun? I'm going to let you go first, Christian.
Yeah, I think this is fun. I think it's a fun 2-player card game if you are looking for one to play. I think you're going to have a good time with it. Because of what we said before, it's easy to play. It's easy to get into. You don't have to invest a ton of money chasing cards.
However, Christian always needs more decks.
I do. I need more because of my disease of just experiencing the new game and the new experience in board games. I do enjoy opening new decks. And And I do find myself getting disappointed when I open one and it doesn't have like one of my favorites. There are some that I like more than others because like each of these houses that we haven't mentioned them all, but you can look them up, what they all do, but they all have unique play styles. Like Angela said, that one hits really hard. One is all about drawing cards from your deck. Another one is about stealing, and then like they all play differently, and then when you mash all those together, you have some cool experiences. Yeah. So I do have fun when I play this game. I do enjoy it. I whenever we play it, I wish we played it more sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, and so I would say I don't disagree with what you said. My first reaction was that, this is another, like, if you listen to our Everdell episode, it's another game like Everdell for me. It's a chicken sausage game.
You're going to have to explain. Why don't you explain that since it's been...
It has been a while, so let me explain that. We have a dinner on kind of our bi-monthly, is that like bi-monthly rotation, twice a month, where I will make like a vegetable, some starch like a potato or a rice, and then I'll cook chicken sausages with it. And Christian, every time I mention that we're having it for dinner, which again is only twice a month, he will get this look like, I can't believe we're having this again. But then once he eats it, he always says at the end, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's better than I thought it was.
I was not excited at all when you said chicken sausages. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the meal, I was like, yeah, chicken sausages.
Right.
It's good.
Yeah. So you never regret it.
No.
So that's how I feel about Everdell, if you want to go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about this Keyforge. I'm never like dying to pull it off the shelf, especially when you get 7 new games in 7 days and you just want to like play a new game.
I don't think it was that many.
I'm making Christian sound like a game hoarder. But no, especially when you have a new game or something that catches your eye again, I don't know that I've ever like am dying to pull Keyforge off the shelf, but then once we're in it and we're playing it, or once we finish playing it, I never regret that we played it. It doesn't ever feel like a waste of time.
Yeah.
I will say, coming off of Chronicles of Crime, this was like a breath of fresh air to have some game mechanics back.
True.
It was like, oh, a game. Like
there's a lot of stuff you can do on your turn.
Yes, like to have it just, I don't know how else to say it. It was like having a game again instead of just
there was like meaningful decisions.
Yeah.
Because you could decide, do I fight with this guy, or do I save him and then reap to get the money? Or do I not do that and I put him back in my deck because of this card? Like, there's all sorts of stuff that you have to think through.
Yes. And then I just felt like I was missing so much mechanically from Chronicles of Crime. So this, although Chronicles of Crime is immersive, so it's so interesting, like to come off of to put 2 very different games back to back in our play experience was interesting. And another reason why Keyforge might come off the shelf before Everdell for me is because it's so easy to bring places. It's a small little box, and if you don't use the box, it's even smaller because you have just card decks that you could put in, I don't know, like a makeup case or...
Well, yeah, I mean, I bought this little tiny, like, flip-and tray thing like when we first started playing Keyforge.
Oh yeah, we'll have to put a picture of it on the website.
It holds all of our coins and tokens,
yeah.
And it holds like about 4 Keyforge decks.
Right.
So if we went somewhere that wasn't like super remote, I could just take it with the tokens.
Yep.
Buy a couple when we're there, and then you're good to go.
Yep. So I like that, and it's relatively quick.
That's true.
I mean, unless you just happen to have a game where like there's so much stealing and back and forth that the keys don't flip.
We did have our very first game playing this again to get prepped for the show. Mm-hmm. It was really long. I felt like we'll play Keyforge, it'll be done in 45 minutes.
It was more like 2 hours.
And then like 90 minutes later, we're like, This is still the same game.
But it was a good match then, I think.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Yeah.
And then we've had the opposite. We had one where you just destroyed me.
But it wasn't even fun.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It wasn't fun to destroy you because it felt like... I mean, I think I had 3 keys forged and you had just forged your first key.
I don't know. I don't even remember which one I was playing, but I was like, this one is not good. Yeah. I had the worst draws ever. But then I think that the reverse happened too. Not as badly, but I won pretty handily.
Yes.
The other game that we played too. So like, it's fun. You just never know
right
what you're gonna get with these decks and how they react or interact with your opponents.
Right.
Because you could be undefeated with yours, go to a tournament, and then this guy, he's literally never lost.
Right.
And he could steamroll you, and it's just like out of nowhere.
Yeah. The variability maybe makes it like sometimes an itch I need to scratch. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Is it worth it? We've already touched on this a little bit when we described like how the description of the game and the ease of setup and teardown, but we'll break it down even further. When we talk about is it worth it, we're talking like the cost versus how replayable is it, and do you get your money's worth?
Yeah.
So if you're buying a 2-player starter set, you're spending $25?
I think it's 25, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe 30.
And then all the additional packs are 10, unless you're getting a deluxe pack, which Christian mentioned had the tokens with it, and that is 15.
Right.
This is probably the most worth it game we've ever talked about because it's such a low cost of entry. And if I buy one Keyforge deck ever in my life and someone buys 1,000, that doesn't mean that their decks are better than mine.
Right. Because
they're all unique.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that they buy that many, the odds are that they have a better deck? Yes.
Right. Or that they play it enough to know some strategy.
Yeah. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
In theory, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think everyone out there does as well. So yeah, that's great. That's cool.
It's such a low cost game, and you can play it over and over again and get a different experience depending on who you're playing against.
Yeah, definitely. It is definitely worth it. And if you're out there looking to get into Keyforge, it's a Fantasy Flight game. And what Fantasy Flight is great at doing is making expansions. Mm-hmm. And they have a brand new expansion coming out, I think, in the next 4 to 6 weeks, maybe?
Ooh.
They haven't said anything on when.
They're accepting pre-orders, though.
Yeah, and they have something new called... Their new set is called Mass Mutation.
Okay.
So if you're looking for a time to jump in, do it now. I mean, I'll say do it now. But if you want to learn a little bit more and research, definitely check out their website and look up the Mass Mutation stuff. It looks pretty cool.
It's because they started in 2018 with Call of the Archons.
Yeah.
And then it became Worlds Collide.
Well, Worlds Collide is number 3. There's actually a second one that I don't have.
Oh, okay.
We didn't play for like a year.
Yeah.
Because we just didn't.
Is it a green box?
It's blue.
It's blue. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this Worlds Collide is the third one. It's purple. And then the new one coming out is, I don't know, kind of blackish green.
Yeah. There's some cool mechanics that are coming. We don't have to get into the details of those. Mm-hmm. But my favorite thing that they've announced for this new one coming up is they're having, I guess they're called, I don't know what they're called. I call them giant cards. Where they take two...
Like literally giant?
No, it's 2 regular sized cards that when you fit them together create like a giant creature. And so in order to play that creature, you have to get both those cards in your deck and then play it.
So when you set the cards next to each other, they form a complete picture?
Yeah, they like stack. Like if you've ever played like the Transformers card game, they have a couple of those where you just lay out side by side and the Transformer gets bigger. It's kind of like that.
Well, that's neat.
Yeah.
Okay, well that piques my interest.
Yeah, I think I have a couple on pre-order.
Oh, well that's a surprise.
Surprise. Yeah. Hey, it's for research.
Yeah, it is for research, everyone.
Yep.
So Christian's allowed to do it.
Yeah. This is definitely worth it. I mean, even you love to take this one literally and talk about the money versus the number of times we played it. But
yes.
I think even beyond that, it's definitely worth it. I think worth in terms of like fun, the games that you could play with your friends and have contests and all that stuff. It's definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm. Well, make sure you have people that would enjoy playing this with you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And then I think to talk back to the time that I taught it to a bunch of guys at work, like we haven't done that since, and they keep on asking, like, "Oh, are we going to do that again?"
Right.
And it's all up to them. Like I'm down.
But since Christian had a starter pack, well, actually probably more than that at that time, he could provide the tokens, and all you had to do was tell these guys to go invest $10 at Target.
Yeah, and we made some new tokens. Like we just had like
like pennies or something.
Yeah, we did what we could to make it work because we had so many people. We had like 12 guys.
Oh yeah.
And I only had so many tokens to go around, but yeah. I mean, again, if you have that stuff and you can make it work, then yeah, pay $10.
Low cost of entry.
Look up the rules online, and you're good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about what we learned about each other and our marriage playing this game. This episode is sponsored by Show It. Hey, Christian, why do we love Show It?
Well, we love it because we are terrible at designing websites.
That is true.
And we were able to make our site using Show It in a couple hours.
Yeah, if you're stuck in like some boring website template, you need to check out Show It and experience what they have to offer. It's really simple. It's drag and drop. And our website, if you've never been there, is beautiful, if I may say so myself.
Yeah, we use Show It to make it, and you can get started for free. Showit.co. Check it out.
We are back with Christian's favorite segment.
Why do you say that? Do you say that like it's true or not true?
I was just saying it to be funny.
Oh.
That I always introduce it and I always talk the most
Well,
during this segment.
This segment was actually my idea for the podcast.
I think we should tell the people out there that this is your idea.
Yeah. But it is the hardest one for me to
articulate.
Yes. I'll leave it at that.
So he has a lot of behind the scenes ideas for this part that we talk about and we discuss before recording, and then he leaves it to me.
Yeah, I feel like you could explain a little bit better than I can.
Lest anyone out there think that this part is Christian begrudgingly.
No.
Yeah.
I like this part. I don't like talking about this part.
Right.
If that makes sense. So, Angela, let's talk about it.
Okay. You're going to add a little color to this.
Okay. Blue.
So, this game is a 2-player card game that's back and forth.
Head to head.
Head to head. It is particularly competitive, I would say.
It's a race.
Yes. So
to quote Rat Race.
Okay, it's a race.
The classic movie.
But what we have found is that I don't normally like games like this. Like Star Wars Destiny.
Yes.
I do have a little bit of love for Star Wars Destiny in my heart. If you want to read my complicated feelings about that on the blog, you can.
Yeah, that's
at
true.
At our website. However, I don't usually like Star Wars Destiny because I have such hurt feelings when I lose that game.
Yeah.
It just feels mean.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a good experience at all. Even when I win, it's not like... It's almost like, oh, whew, at least I just escaped getting my feelings hurt, instead of like a celebration.
Yeah. When you're down in a game like that, and like part of those games is to like remove the other player's cards that are key to that player winning.
Yeah.
So if all of a sudden I had 3 characters and you kill one of them, I'm at a huge disadvantage, and it's very hard to come back to.
Mm-hmm. And there might be some cards in your deck that you literally can't play. Because you lost that character.
Because Luke Skywalker's dead.
Yeah.
That's not really the case in this one.
No. So I have a bunch of theories about why, but I don't have hurt feelings when I lose this game, even though it checks all the nasty boxes of super competitive and like aggressive, like combat head to head and a race. So I don't know, like I was trying to talk through this with Christian. He was kind of asking me like, well, what makes this one different than Destiny to you? And my first thought was that it's not about hurting your characters. The goal is to flip my keys. Mm-hmm. So if I need to hurt your characters in order to get Ember or to further my plan, that might be an unnecessary like side effect.
Okay.
But the goal is to get Ember to flip keys, not to kill you.
That's true.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. And I think if you're on the receiving end of like losing or getting your characters removed from the game or removed from the board, you always have a chance to come back, because eventually those cards will go back into your hand again. Like once you kill the cards on the board, they don't get removed from the game. Some of them do. There's always exceptions.
Right.
But you can always draw back up to get those cards again and get them right back out.
Yeah, and you don't have 3 characters leading your team.
No.
You've got, I don't know, 8,
however many you draw,
20 creatures on the board. However, yeah. So it doesn't feel like, oh, I just lost Luke Skywalker. My whole entire plan is shot.
Yeah. And I think we played a game of this where I was winning most of the game. And I had like 2 out of 3. And then you just kept on going and chipped away. And then you won 1 turn before I was going to win.
Yeah.
And it was like really out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You just had the right cards at the right time, and it was like boom, 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 six Ember, and then you were able to do it earlier than I was.
Yeah.
There's nothing I could do. It was crazy.
So I don't feel like it's, and I also like that when I happen to lose this game, I'm like, all right, well, you just played your deck better, or this matchup, my deck was maybe not suited to combat your powers. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like as defeated in Star Wars Destiny. You feel like, oh, if I would have just had the right, like if I would have searched or bought or spent tons of money on the right cards, like this is just, you get what you get and you don't get upset.
That sounds like a parent thing to say. Yeah. Which is perfect for this podcast.
Yeah. So we're learning we can play this and not have hurt feelings on my end, at least, and that it's more replayable in that way.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think there are times when, like, I do enjoy these kind of games. Mm-hmm. Way more than you.
Yes.
So being able to play this one and not having to sleep on the couch because of my victories is a good thing.
I was for that.
That's never happened, but
listen, if I'm making you sleep on the couch, then you're buying 7 games in 7 days.
I didn't do that.
So I didn't do that either.
I didn't do that. Oh, man. Come back after the break, guys. All right, guys. Thank you for making it this far in the episode. We are starting to wrap up Keyforge.
And you're starting to wrap up your workout.
That's right. I guess. For those of you at the gym. Thank you.
Don't you remember that?
I do. It took me a minute to figure out what you were talking about.
Circle.
And I just got to say, we had a lot of fun playing Keyforge. Yeah. And Fantasy Flight, if you're listening, because why wouldn't you be?
I mean, why not?
More unique deck card games. Let's get something going outside of this world. This world is great. It's probably not our cup of tea. It's still fun. but I think there's a lot of potential.
I mean, we
there.
gave you a lot of suggestions, Fantasy Flight.
Yeah.
We
I
gave
emailed you personally.
We said Harry Potter. We said Star Wars.
Yep.
I mean, I even threw in My Little Pony in there.
Yeah, I don't know if they have the rights to that, but sure.
All right, well.
Let's do it.
I just threw it in there.
Well, at the end of the show, we always like to ask everyone listening a question and follow up from last week's question. Last week, we did talk about Chronicles of Crime, which was mentioned at the top of the show. And we had mentioned how app-driven this game is. It is like 100% app-driven. Even way more so than Mansions of Madness and any other app games that we have. And we asked everybody out there what their favorite app-driven game is, what they think about it. Are they pro-app, not pro-app?
Yeah.
So our buddy, My Arm is Colder Than Yours. He wrote in, and he feels like...
I hope he thinks that we're his buddy, too.
Yeah, I think so. We're Instagram friends.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
That... Now, I could be quoting this wrong, but he thinks that it's just kind of where the industry is going. Like, how could you not have apps as a part of your game these days? It's such an easy thing to do.
Or he's just following I mean, he's okay with it. He's
Yeah.
going, which is kind of where I think I fall. Although I do get the argument that, I don't know, what year are we in? 2020?
Yes.
In like 2050.
Yeah.
Will Chronicles of Crime be
Around?
right, like obsolete because
Well, eventually like whatever operating system they're on, it's going to be obsolete.
Right.
And then a company might go under, and you're not going to be able to update that app to work on Windows Infinity.
right.
So,
Trademark?
yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to me. So I get that.
Right.
But also in 2030, 20 whatever, do I really want to play Chronicles of Crime? I hope that in that time, everything has just gotten better.
Right.
Whatever it is.
So there's a new experience,
Yeah.
a new game.
Yeah, it's Black Mirror. You put the little button on the side of your head, and boom, you're in Mansions of Madness.
That would be unreal.
Just, there's something like that. I get it. I get why people freak out over it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's as big a deal.
No.
Like, even if they said, hey, we're not updating Mansions of Madness ever again, like, and it won't work on our devices, I'd be like, that's a huge bummer. But we had a really fun time playing, and there's going to be new stuff.
Easy for you to say. No, I get what you're saying. I kind of agree. I understand the argument against the app-driven thing. Intellectually, I understand it, but in my heart, I really do like the immersiveness that app-driven games.
Yeah, because it allows
give
you
you
not to have to worry about some things. Like, if I had to search the deck for, like, a monster card because I was the monster player, like, that would not be fun. Like, if the computer just says, hey, there's a monster, and you're like, oh no, let's fight it or not, or run.
And I, honestly, the background music adds to, like, the tense nature of
That's true. That's true. And my arm, cold arm, sorry.
Why can you never get our friend's name right?
No, I don't know anyone's, I can't say anyone's Instagram name. But he's been playing a lot. And many of the same ones that we have, like Mansions, Journeys of Middle Earth, and I think he mentioned Imperial Assault as well, which we do have, and we tried the app for that.
Yes.
We just weren't as into it, which is interesting because it's Star Wars. I love Star Wars. Check out episode 5. But for whatever reason, this Star Wars game does not do it for us, even with the app.
So, app-driven games, they're probably here to stay, guys.
Yep. Like it or not, really.
Yeah.
It's happening. So thank you, My Arm is Colder Than Yours, for responding to our question. And we're going to do something a little different.
We're switching it up?
We are not going to have a question this week because...
Drum roll, please.
I'll do a drum roll on the dog you're holding.
We are going to be doing a giveaway instead.
Yeah, I think it's time. We thought it'd be fun. We were BSing some ideas, brainstorming some ideas.
Right. Thank you for clarifying that.
Some ideas on how we could do a fun giveaway for the show, just to say thank you to all of our listeners. And we thought Keyforge was the perfect opportunity. So now we don't have all the details in this show right now. In the next day or two, on our Instagram, which is
at Married and Bored.
We will have more details. I think what we're going to do is we're going to give you an opportunity to win 2 decks of Keyforge. One for you.
And one for your partner.
Yeah, we hope your significant other. If it's a friend, that's fine too. Friends are significant.
They are significant.
That's the deepest thing I've said.
They are significant and they're other.
That's right. They're not you. And if we find out you kept both of them, then we're going to come to your house and take them.
So be on the lookout for our Instagram post for the giveaway.
Yeah.
And
we are recording tonight on a Monday.
Yep.
So we think on Friday morning.
Or before.
Just watch Instagram. You know how it goes.
Yeah. Follow us like your life depends on it.
And if you want to write in, as always, why don't you just tell us what you've been playing this week or lately? Mm-hmm. We've been playing Keyforge. Angela, we've also been playing one of your new favorites.
Oh.
What is it?
Quacks of Quinlanburg.
Yeah, or however you say it. And I did buy a couple games in a very short amount of time. So there are some others in queue that we are excited to learn and possibly do for a future show.
Yes.
So write us and just let us know what you're playing. It's always fun to hear from you guys. Check out Instagram for the potential, not the potential contest, the rules for the contest later this week.
Yes.
Anything else you want to say today, Angela?
I've got nothing else.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Keyforge, it's a great game. It's a good learning experience if you want to jump into a little bit more heavy card games. Mm-hmm. We hope you enjoyed it.
May your ember be plenty and your keys be strong.
Whoa. That was really good.
Thank you.
All right. See you next time, guys.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Married and Bored podcast. And guess what? We have a website where you can listen to podcast episodes and so much more. Find us at marriedandbored.com, or you can email us at hello@marriedandbored.com, or follow us on Instagram at marriedandbored. Music in this episode is by Joseph McDade. See you next time.